Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you how to compress acoustic guitar step by step. We're going to be looking at compressing acoustic guitar today, but before we dive in, if you're ready to go a little bit deeper into the mixing process in its entirety and really start to hone your workflow as an audio engineer, then I have just the thing for you. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and it's just a simple PDF that will walk you through the entire mixing process step by step to help you get professional and radio ready mixes without any more of the hassle and without any more of the guesswork. It is a completely free guide, and you can download it below using the link in the video description. Now let's jump in here and take a look at this guitar. Let me of course start by playing you the finished mix here so you can hear how the guitar fits inside of the track, and then I'll solo up the acoustic guitar. You can hear our finished acoustic guitar sound. So here's our finished mix for this track. So you can hear it's a really solid kind of acoustic rock sort of song here, and it's got a good acoustic guitar foundation to it with this pair of guitars. So we've got the acoustic and we've got an acoustic guitar double, excuse me. It's a pair of guitars panned wide. So the same part just played once and then played again. One's panned left, one's panned right. Both of these guys here are sending to the acoustic level. So it's an acoustic guitar bus. There's no processing going on the individual tracks here. We've got an EQ, and then of course the compressor we're going to talk about. So just a little bit of work here with the EQ, pulling out some ringing frequencies, some of the heaviness in the bottom end. Ooh, excuse me. A touch of mid-range here around 2K, just to bring out that mid-range energy and help it blend with the piano and the electric guitars we have going. And then, of course, the top end to bring out that top end shine, the brightness of the strings, and that air that you want to hear across the top end of the acoustic guitar. That gives it that kind of shimmer and that elegant sort of sound you want to hear coming from the top end of your acoustic guitar. Now, after that is where we have our compressor. Now, if you watched how to compress electric guitars, you'll remember this compressor from that video. This is something I like to use on acoustic guitars as well, and sometimes I'll reach for the 1176 as well, and we'll try that before we jump into, ooh, I'm hitting my microphone here, before we jump into the stock compressor. But let me show you what this looks like here on the acoustic guitars. If you'll notice though, we kind of have the opposite sort of settings here. So we've got the attack set to slow, and then our release is set to medium here. So take a listen how that works here on the acoustic guitar, and I'll A/B this compressor for you. So without and then with it. So if you notice, we're only doing about 3 dB reduction here on the pair of acoustic guitars, but our compressor's moving in time with our guitar. That's why we're using different settings than when we were using it on electric guitar. So electric guitar, especially big distorted electric guitars, you're not going to have really anything to move in time with because it's going to be more like a block of energy moving through your track. So you're going to get more of that consistent sort of sound. On acoustic guitar, we have a little bit more ebb and flow to the track, so we can set our compressor to move in time and get that breath with our track. So one more time here, slowest attack, medium style release. We don't want to be working too hard on this, otherwise we're going to be cutting off transients, and then you'll neuter the percussive element that acoustic guitar can add to your track here. So take a listen again, without and then with. The nice thing about this compressor is there isn't a huge tone shift in the acoustic guitar. There really isn't a huge sound shift in the acoustic guitar overall. It just grabs those peaks, grabs those larger notes, holds them in place, pulls them down to match them with the quieter sections of the acoustic guitar, just getting 3 dB reduction here, and it evens out our guitar sound overall without doing too much sound shift. Sometimes things like the 1176, which we'll try here, can be a little bit too aggressive for a softer track like this. So let me pull in the 1176 style compressor here. And let's dial this in. So I'm going to go medium slow style attack on this, but you can see it's still quite fast here, 0.55 milliseconds. Fastest release at 50 milliseconds. 4:1 ratio. And let's just dial this in and see what kind of sound we can get. So I just pushed our input up and dialed our output back till we're getting about 3 dB reduction here. The more you push up the input, the more compression you're going to get with a unit like this. And then you dial your output back to match the volume in and out of the compressor. Now we're doing about the same 3 dB reduction here, but I want you to notice it sounds more aggressive. So take a listen without, and then I'm going to kick the compressor in. Notice how when we're grabbing some of those peaks, it sounds a little bit more aggressive. You can hear the compression a little bit more. So for this track here, I opted not to go for something like this. This is usually what I reach for on acoustic guitar, is this 1176 style compressor, but it came off too aggressive for this track. If we throw this back in the song here, and I'll throw the other compressor on, you'll hear it's not a very aggressive song. It's very laid back, it's very mellow, and I didn't want something that was going to make the acoustic guitar feel like it had all this energy and aggression to it. That doesn't vibe with this track here.
Wait, it'll be a little longer. She's coming for you. She'll get here fast as she can. Just wait, gotta be a...
It's not a very aggressive sound. It's very mellow. It's a soft rock sort of song. We don't want a heavy rock or a classic rock style sound coming from our acoustic guitar. It's not going to blend well with the track. Okay, so all those compressors out of the way. Let's pull in the stock compressor here and dial in a sound. Now, if you're new to compression, something that can be helpful, especially if you're using a stock compressor inside of a DAW, is some of the presets. So let's look at some of the presets here and see what we got. Fingerstyle, hard, soft. Let's go with acoustic strumming and see what it gives us. So we've got a really fast attack, medium style release here, or fast medium style release. A really soft ratio. That's interesting. Let's try this and then we'll set it our own way. So it's not bad, but it's very similar to the 1176 style sound with the very fast attack like this. So it's giving me that extra aggression again as we're pulling down these bigger transients. So let's go back to default and let's dial in our own settings. I'm going to leave it on 3:1 here, so not too aggressive with the ratio like the 1176, but we're not going too gentle with it either with something like 2:1. We're going to start with the 30 millisecond attack, 120 millisecond release. I'm going to pull down the threshold here, and we'll be able to see and hear how the compressor is reacting to the guitar, and that'll allow us to better set our attack and release here. That's looking in a good place there. So I'm going to hit play one more time. Just pay attention to the gain reduction meter here and notice how it's starting to move a little bit more in time with our acoustic guitar. We're still doing a lot of compression. That's okay. We'll fix our threshold in a second. We're exaggerating our threshold so we can better set our attack and release to work with the instrument at play here. Then we'll dial our threshold back and we'll set it more in the track. But pay attention to the gain reduction meter here. Notice how it's starting to move in time with our guitar. That's feeling really, really nice to me. So let's dial our threshold back now and set it so it's working appropriately on the guitar. We're not doing 10 dB reduction here. Notice all I did was dial our attack and release up a little bit faster. So we're at about 17 milliseconds here on the attack. That's at a good time that it's not being really, really aggressive like our 1176 was, but it's not being really gentle and letting a transient poke through that we then emphasize when we start to compress the guitar. Our release I dialed up, so it's starting to let go, and we get that breath of air as our compressor works on our guitar. You don't want it to hold on to anything too long, but we don't want it to snap back, kind of like we were getting on the 1176, where it would hit and snap back really fast. We'll dial our threshold up, and we may tweak our release one more time so it's working with the lower level of compression. That's feeling really, really good right there. So let's throw this back in the track here. Notice I pulled up the makeup gain a little bit, so we're sitting even in and out of the compressor. It snaps up on some of these really, really aggressive hits here on the acoustic guitar where it jumps out a little bit and we have a bigger peak. But other than that, we're sitting right around 3-4 dB reduction here, which feels really, really nice. So we'll listen one more time. I'll A-B the compressor and we'll throw it in the track. That's really, really nice. So if you're starting to work on compressing acoustic guitar, try starting with a preset. Sometimes they can be a little bit more aggressive. They can be a little bit wishy-washy, but they can always point you in the right direction as well. Just remember, setting your attack and release, try pulling your threshold down more than you need so you can visually see how much compression is happening. And that will help you set your attack and release time to work in time with your guitar. I hope that was helpful for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're ready to take your mixes to the next level and really start dialing in your workflow as an audio engineer, then I have just the tool for you, and it is completely free. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and you can download it below to start creating more professional mixes in less time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.